Hey there, my love. If you've recently been handed that dreaded pink slip or laid off from a corporate or federal job, I want you to take a deep breath because I know it feels like the rug's been pulled out from under you. I know that you held on to that security and that paycheck thinking that you had more time. And I know that you're really upset because you feel like you held off your dream of wanting to leave that place a long time ago and start your own consulting business out of fear, out of hope that you had more time, and out of, in some instances, loyalty and a sense of responsibility to that very place that just let you go. But I want you to think of it like this. This just might be the universe, spirit, God giving you that nudge that you've been waiting for. That dream of starting your own consulting business is now. It's possible. And you finally have the opportunity to let go of all of those blockages and make it happen. This, my love, is your moment. And today, I am going to tell you exactly why you should take advantage of this opportunity and how to do it. So let's get to work. Look, you are not alone in this. All right. I have been working with a coaching client for a very long time, a couple of years actually. And 2 years ago, she came to me and said that she was keeping her job. She wanted to begin to build a consulting business while she was working. And a big part of the reason why she didn't want to take the plunge was because she wanted the security of her paycheck. She wanted the security of her benefits. And she honestly was feeling very loyal to the corporate job that she had. And you know me, I'm a big believer in taking a transition year or a transition 6 months and really building your business while you're still working somewhere else so that you can get this thing off the ground, build your confidence, get it set up well, even dabble and test your idea, your products, your services, your concept, and build that confidence, get your first clients, get some money coming in so that when you do take the leap and turn in that letter of resignation, you can confidently and pick the right time to do it for you and your family. But sometimes that perfect transition plan just doesn't happen. Sometimes things happen in our lives that should happen and that need to happen in order to nudge us in the direction and put us on the path that you were ultimately meant to be on in this lifetime. You see, God, the universe, spirit, whatever you want to call it out there, always has a plan, right? They have a plan for you and they have a plan for all of us. And that plan is sometimes not the path that we walk on. We've got free will. So we make choices and we shift and we go down different paths and different roads. And it takes us off of that original path or that original plan that we were intended for. And so God will kind of throw things in our path that will create that fire that we need to get to the right place, to ultimately get to where He has been telling us we were supposed to be all along. I get it. I had that experience last year. Many of you know that I was off of work and am still recovering from an out of the blue brain tumor diagnosis, which ultimately ended with me having a full craniotomy and being off of work for almost 4 months. And I like to think of that as that same type of nudge, what feels like a tower moment. For those of you who know what I'm talking about, if you know, you know, it's a tower moment. You know, that thing that happens in your life that feels inevitably like a dire, dire, dire situation. But when you take a step back and get on the other side of that situation, you're usually able to reflect, especially when you're asking yourself, why did this happen to me? And say, maybe this happened because I was supposed to do this, or maybe this happened because I was supposed to be in a different space. And now that I am almost a year out from my brain surgery and from the brain tumor diagnosis. And while I'm still recovering every day and I still have remnants of symptoms and different things going on, which I'll tell you guys about in a whole different video. If you want to know more, just let me know in the comments below. And I'll do a whole separate video, not about business, but about how to deal with life tragedies as you building a business. I'll totally do that video for you because I got some lessons for your ass, okay? But anyway, now looking back, As to why that happened, I can 100% say that I was not on the right path. And I had been putting out in the universe, praying, asking God to kind of set my business up in a way that would help me fulfill my next journey and my next path in life. And He kept sending me signs and telling me and sending me my intuition and telling me to do things, and I was ignoring it because I kept saying, "Oh, you know what? I'll wait 2 years from now when my youngest graduates from high school, and then I'll be in a better position to move in that direction." And honestly, that brain tumor diagnosis made it so that I had no choice but to begin going in that direction. It made it so that I couldn't make excuses. It made it so that I couldn't put it off anymore. And that's a lot of what I am expecting and what I think you might be going through. So, that little push that you have had now that you are laid off from that corporate gig, the one that you've been at and dedicated to and holding on to and feeling was safe for 5, 10, 20, 25 years, it has kept you from pursuing your dream, it's no longer there. It's no longer a roadblock. And now it's time to move forward. Now it's time to take an opportunity that has been placed at your feet and run with it. It is not time to dust off your resume and start applying for more jobs. It is time for you to finally sit down and say to yourself, I am going to take the skills and the expertise and all of the knowledge and all of the work and all of the power that I have given to those previous corporate folks for the last 5, 10, 15, 25 years and use it for myself. And now I'm going to break down for you why this is the right time, aside from that tower moment, and exactly how you're going to get this done. Now, first, you're not alone in this, all right? Because studies show that nearly 48% of entrepreneurs credit their layoff as the catalyst for starting their own business. And get this, 26% of them took the plunge within just 3 months of being laid off. Why? Because when one door closes, it's up to us to kick open the next door. And sometimes that door leads straight to entrepreneurship, especially if that is what your ultimate soul and gut and intuition has been telling you. Listen and go. Why consulting? Because the market is booming. Now, the global management consulting market is on fire, projected to reach nearly $412.56 billion by 2030. And with businesses constantly evolving, there's a growing demand for experts like you to guide them through the maze. The average consulting business earns $1.77 million a year. I know that that number blows your corporate paycheck, that safety net out the water. And with that much money, boo, you can definitely afford some great benefits, probably better than what you even had. That is because experience is invaluable. Skills and expertise is invaluable. And think about it this way. All of those corporations and businesses and agencies that are laying people off still need to get the work done. Still need to get the work done. But in order to cut those costs, the easiest way to do that is to outsource it to someone who knows how to get the work done. And that means that they are going to need to find a consultant. And if we spend our time getting this business all the way together, boo, that consultant can be you. This is why you have to leverage that corporate experience that you spent all of those years building and ultimately use it to better your own self and build a life of freedom. Think about all of those years that you've spent in the corporate trenches, right? The skills that you've honed, the challenges that you've encountered, the things that you've created, the intellectual property that you have used to ultimately make getting your old job done and done well. You can take all of that, my love, and incorporate it into your own dream, your own empire, and not have to request PTO when you've got a family emergency. Not have to ask somebody if you can take a few days off when you want to go lay by the beach because you need some sunshine and it's been real cloudy out here in my neck of the woods. Not have to fill out family medical leave paperwork when you have to take care of an aging parent or a sick child or even yourself. Think about that. all the stuff that you've already been doing for all of these years, you can still do. And more importantly, you can do it for yourself and grow $1 million. And if you don't want to do million, multi six-figure business to replace that income and get rid of all that craziness in the work, in the office, and the drama and the boss that don't like you. And they've been talking about you like a dog, and Sheila over there by a water fountain, and all of that stuff gone, because ultimately your experience is valuable and it is time to turn your expertise into your enterprise. So, let me walk you through kind of the steps to launching this consulting business, because I like to frame them inside of my Scratch to Freedom framework. And I can't get into all the details right now. Obviously, it would make this video too long, but I have created an amazing 45-minute training that will give you all of the steps to starting your consulting business and introduce you to my Scratch to Freedom framework, which walks you through the steps step by step so that you can clear the noise and have to go out to Google, figure it out on your own, DIY it, let CP show you how to get it done. So you can access the Scratch to Freedom framework in the link in the description below. Watch the video and let me know if you have any questions, because it's going to walk you in detail into what I'm going to do. But let me break it down for you in more general terms right now. Here is exactly how you can get started. First, phase one in the Scratch to Freedom framework is that you have to start with clarity. You have to start with clarity. I do not want you going out there, pulling out a name, figuring out a logo, dropping in and getting your LLC, doing all of that building stuff. Because before you can do that, in order to do it right, you've got to start with clarity. And clarity means you have to make sure that you have chosen the right business idea. You've got lots of skills and lots of talents that I'm sure you can deliver, but you got to hone in on one and pick a niche that you can fit into. And in order to pick the niche that you can fit into, it's got to be tied to your skills, your passions, your lifestyle goals, but also what the market tells you is in high demand out there. You don't want to pick one that people aren't hungry for and that people aren't willing to pay for. So starting with clarity includes figuring out that idea and validating that idea, and then ultimately making sure that you have chosen the right customer. There are so many customers out there, sizes of businesses. Usually when you're a consultant, you are B2B, but there's all kinds of businesses out there who could use expertise in various areas. There's small businesses, there's growth stage businesses, there's mid-sized businesses, there's large businesses, there's corporations, there's agencies, there's nonprofits, and the list goes on and on. So it is really important for you to identify who your customer is going to be, and then you have to get to know that customer intimately in order to be able to effectively sell, because I know that that's one of the biggest fears that you have. You're like, yeah, I might be able to start this business, but I have no idea how to actually sell it and get people to give me money for my skills and expertise. And that's where marketing comes into play. And you won't be able to market if you don't have clarity. That's why phase number one in this framework is starting with clarity. Phase number two in the framework is building with confidence. This is where most people usually jump to, and it's just not right. I know it's not right because I did it. I jumped right in. I picked a name. I registered my business. I did all this stuff, and then I was stuck. It was like crickets. I didn't know what to do next, how to do it. I realized as I was doing steps that there were obviously things that I should have been doing before it, so that stalled me. I wasted a lot of time, wasted a lot of money, and became very frustrated. And most importantly, it affected my confidence, right? I thought because I was doing the steps to starting the business wrong, that would directly translate into me not being able to do the business well and me doing the business wrong. And I did not want to fail. Like, I did not climb the corporate ladder and go and get all that education and get a bachelor's degree and a master's degree and do all that stuff to fail. And because of that, just very nature of doing steps wrong and realizing that I was doing things wrong, it really did a number on my confidence and created all of this imposter syndrome. And so imposter syndrome is definitely a thing. And sometimes we create it for ourselves because we go out of order. And that's why building with confidence is phase two. It is not phase one. I do not recommend that you jump right in and start doing all that stuff. Please take the time to get a clear picture of this business and your market and your competitors and your customer, and then start to move over to phase number two. In phase number two, which is building with confidence, this is where you build the foundation, right? You get all the legal structures in place for your business. You pick your products and services and really define what those are, your packages. You build your website. You get your initial marketing assets and materials together. You do all of the stuff that it takes to kind of create a business presence. And then you move on to step number three in my framework, which is launching to freedom. Launching to freedom is my favorite phase, right? Because it's the one that most people are like, oh my God, what am I doing? And launching to freedom is all about the marketing. And this phase goes a little slower than phase number two because the build with confidence phase, as long as you've done start with clarity first, the build with confidence phase is so quick. I mean, you don't even realize how quickly you'll plow through it and how much your confidence will build because you are plowing through it quickly and you've got so much clarity that you are excited and going. The launch to freedom phase really is all about getting that marketing structure in place, beginning to dabble in the marketing, beginning to understand what your marketing strategy is going to be. And you also do a lot of learning if you aren't familiar with marketing, right? Even if you have been doing marketing your entire career, I can tell you that marketing your own business is a whole different ballgame. And that's why I say you do spend some time learning in here. And I spend a lot of time teaching in my Scratch to Freedom framework, specifically around marketing. The first thing you got to understand is Marketing 101. And Marketing 101 back in 1999, when I first started my business, is totally different than Marketing 101 in 2020, fall 25, 26, and beyond, right? And so, in this launch to freedom phase, the first thing that I recommend is that you understand and learn everything that there can be about the psychology around marketing. What makes people buy? What kind of influences buying decisions? And ultimately, how you can begin to infuse all of that in all of the marketing decisions that you make. Then I tell you, you got to kind of create a marketing strategy, and that's a game plan. You guys know that I'm a firm believer in having a game plan for everything. I think even when you're creating your products and services in phase number two, you need to have a product and pricing strategy. It's a game plan. It doesn't have to be a 25-page plan because in corporate, you were probably used to these huge plans. It can be a one or two sheeter. And that strategy plan is really designed for you to figure out who you're marketing to, what you're actually going to be marketing, because you got to take it one product or service at a time, how you are going to do it, and then what channels you're going to focus on in doing it. And obviously, as a consultant, there are some very specific things that are more successful for you versus other stuff. That's why I tell people, that come to me and they're working with me and they're like, hey, CP, I saw this, I saw that. Can I do it all to market my business? I'm usually like, not everything is a great fit for consultants, right? And so in that marketing strategy, you will figure that out. Once you've gotten the marketing down, you begin to kind of go and you begin to put it out there and you officially launch the business and you create that launch plan and strategy, that pre-launch work, that during launch work, and that post-launch work that will begin to bring in those customers and generate those sales so that you can show yourself that you have what it takes to make this business successful. So, my love, listen, I know stepping out on your own is scary, but what's scarier? Regret, okay? Not getting it done. This layoff isn't the end, my loves. It's a new beginning. I need you to think of it that way. The consulting world is rising. It is so much opportunity that exists in it. And there's a seat at the table with your name on it, my love. Absolutely. Do not put your resume out there and start looking for jobs. This is it. This is your sign. If you have been praying for a sign, if you've been begging and asking God, what should I do next? And this video showed up in your feed, this is exactly why. So you are ready to bet on yourself, my love. Trust me, you are. And I've got your back. I'm going to show you how to do it. Check out all the videos. Check out the Scratch to Freedom framework. I've done it multiple times, built multiple 6 and 7 figure businesses. And my passion in life is to help you do the exact same thing. Let's get to work, my love. Until next time, until next Tuesday, I will see you soon. Have a wonderful, wonderful week. Bye-bye.